people are really interested in it. People are really keen to understand why things happen, how they happen, what are the interesting things happening in other people's worlds and lives. And I think there's no better time because the kind of platforms we have available to us for documentary filmmaking.
Once you pick up a subject, then what is the next step? How strong is the research, and how well do you research your subject? And vis-a-vis a fiction film in the non-fiction format, how important is research?
Research is one of the most critical phases of a documentary. This is the time that defines whether you're going to make this at all.
Mhm.
Um, it is all about the access that you have to the characters, the kind of relationship you build to these characters, how much information you can dig from them about what the threads of the story are. What are the tools you're going to tell the story? All of this will emerge during the research. But I mean, like for example, when you're researching a fiction film, you
Mhm.
could say be making a film about a javelin thrower, and therefore you'd have to
Mhm.
research, you know, what does a javelin thrower do? What is the sport? You'd have to research those things. But actually, in the research of a documentary, you would need to find your character, who it is. You can't cast somebody to play it. You need to find them. You need to find what the stories are. You have to actually find, okay, did they lose the Olympics? Did they win the Olympics? How does this happen? How do we tell this story? So all of it, I would say the roadmap is laid out in research.
And when you after you've researched your subject, you come down to scripting. You do the script first, or I mean the broad script first, and then go for shoot and then fine tune it later. How is the scripting process in a documentary?
It is hard to script because ultimately you get people on camera and then they tell you the story and you kind of have to stitch it together in post. But I would say by now, the level of documentaries that are being made, there's a fair bit of scripting and structure that goes on before you go on the floor. And that is actually quite important. Even though while shooting it and while you're on the floor, things can lead you in different directions, and
Mhm.
therefore you have to adapt and adjust. But I would say that a fair bit of script writing and structuring does happen before, so that and that means that in research you've already talked to the people and the characters a couple of times. You already
Mhm.
know a little bit in the direction that they're going to go in.
So basically, you know exactly this is the broad format, and then when you go into the field and you shoot, and when you come across, there are many new things that you have recorded. So you
Yeah, yeah.
rewrite the script and cover up a few points.
Yeah, I mean, but actually, I would say that people probably don't recognize how much research and planning happens for documentaries as well. Uh, you end up writing very detailed notes that mix like what you imagine it to be, as well as based on the research what the character is telling you. So you'll get quite detailed, and of course, along the way, the character could tell you, it was raining on the day that such and such thing happened, and in your head you've planned that it's a summer hot day. Those kind of things can change, or he'll tell you some new information about like something that happened in the past, therefore that'll affect your reconstruction or the archival that you need. So I mean, you have to be able to adjust to what people end up saying to you, but I would imagine that you research it so well and it's so in depth that there are not big surprises that are thrown, although you have to make room that it could happen.
So coming to the exposition part now, once you have done the film, you know, uh, people do prepare their marketing, their promotion kit. Is there any advice you would like to share with the upcoming filmmakers? How to go about it? How to create a film marketing kit or a promotion kit? What does it need? What all you need to write, what all you need to prepare, how to cut a trailer, and how to prepare a visual presentation so that the film is saleable, in the international market. If
You know,
not, what is the
actually,
market?
this process actually happens at the time that you start to submit the Bible. So well before
Mhm.
even you go on the floor, those reels are already. So ideally already have things like a log line. You think about your series title, you would think about the episodic titles, and all of these, like from the artwork to naming to all of these things, are thought with keeping in mind the audience who is going to
Mhm.
sit there maybe on a Friday evening, see your title amongst many other titles, and what's going to prompt them to want to actually know more. So I mean, this is the basis around how you would like uh,
Mhm.
build, and so it depends on every like story. For example, are you trying to create mystery around what the title is? Are you trying to tell them, no, this is the biggest hook of my thing straight up, and get them to
Mhm.
click because of that? So it depends on the kind of story that you structured. What is the nature of the story? What is the marketing hook of it? So
Mhm.
likewise, I mean, like, have you made it for a Netflix audience? Have you made it for a Hotstar audience? Have you made it for a Z audience? How does your audience like? What do they like to watch? So I mean, as much information, marketing people know this better than I do, but they go into quite a bit of detail to understand, how to design these things.
So, in general, how do you think is the future of documentary film production worldwide? Now that there are more avenues, more festivals, do you think is it right? I mean, can someone make this as a career? Of course, there've been many documentary filmmakers, prominent ones, who have made it a career. But generally, people who were not able to do it earlier, can they survive and sustain by making documentary films today?
Yeah, I think there's no better time than today to make
Mhm.
documentary films. I think also, uh, if you see, like the scale of cinema has become very blockbuster. It's become very big, and with the proliferation of things like fake news and mistaken WhatsApps and all this kind of stuff, the place for nuance has gotten lost. And I think documentary allows for this. It allows for dialogue and discussion and deeper understanding. And actually, people are really interested in it. People are really keen to understand why things happen, how they happen, what are the interesting things happening in other people's worlds and lives. And I think there's no better time because the kind of platforms we have available to us for documentary filmmaking. Like, I don't think I would exist if I was existing maybe 10 years ago.